Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be talking about emergency. There's a lot of things happening, guys. Emergency World War III update. A few things that have been happening, and you would, if you blinked, you would have missed them. We're going to be talking about the concept of World War III and how that's panning out at the moment. We're also going to be, because I know a lot of my followers are from the United Kingdom, we're going to be talking about what's happening with the alleged Manchester attackers, the Manchester incident, the Manchester 2, the Manchester Police GB. I don't know what it's called anymore, guys, but you know the two guys who allegedly had fisticuffs in Manchester airport but didn't because they're claiming self-defense, and how I think, ladies and gentlemen, I think there's a strong chance that these guys, ladies and gentlemen, I think that there is a strong chance that these guys walk. Why? Quite a few reasons. War, ideological subversion, and a United States takeover of the United Kingdom in 2030. These are the direct lines I'm seeing at the moment, guys. They really are. Also, Andrew Bridgen came out, and there's an interview going around X about Andrew Bridgen, and he's talking about how they're bringing down the age of voting. Well, it turns out Andrew Bridgen is claiming that they're bringing down the age of voting because guess what? You can't be conscripted into the military unless you're able to vote. So let's just and you know what, guys? I think that might be a thing actually, because I remember when I was in the military, you were not allowed to get deployed unless you were not allowed to get deployed operationally unless you were 18. So let's just listen to this interview, guys, and let's try and unpack whatever we can.
Let me tell you. Do you know why Keir Starmer's putting forward votes down to 16? Go for it. It's not just the fact that he sees political advantage in it. That's because when he signed us into the European Defence and Securities Union, gave the EU, it's cross EU, Ursula von der Leyen, the ability to conscript from 16 to 35, and you can't.
So there we go, guys. In fact, I butted in, didn't I? Let's let the video play.
Ask them to fight for your country if they don't get a vote.
Let me rewind that a minute, guys. Sorry, I butted in halfway. Hang on. So they're talking about conscription here and why the age of, we want 16-year-olds to be able to vote. And also we want to be able to conscript you. Listen, this is what Andrew Bridgen's saying, not me.
It's cross EU, Ursula von der Leyen, the ability to conscript from 16 to 35. And you can't ask them to fight for your country if they don't get a vote. So they need to be very careful what they're voting. Yeah.
So Andrew Bridgen there is saying that the real reason, the subtext of bringing down the age of the vote is so people can, so 16-year-olds can be conscripted into the military. So look, guys, I don't know what's the case is, but I do know that there have been one main thing today, guys, that really hit the World War III front. Now, I'll just read you this headline and I'll give you the subtext. UK will recognise Palestinian state in September unless Israel agrees to a ceasefire and other conditions. So first of all, the Israelis are going to do exactly what the Israelis want to do. All right, I don't think Netanyahu sat there thinking, Britain's going to recognise Palestine as a state unless we have a ceasefire. I don't think that's happening, guys, at all in any way, shape, or form. But what you see now is and I can be quite open with my wording now. What you can see now is this, and I've spoken about this. I've been speaking about this for a long time. This divergence where the United Kingdom are going to start to criticize what's happening in the Middle East by saying, supporting the Palestinians, supporting the people in Gaza, supporting that region, even if it's only by words. Now, what that's going to do that is going to, when these things really do ratchet up, what that's going to do is it's going to stop those internal protests, that internal violence that you normally get from a certain demographic in the United Kingdom. So by the United Kingdom coming out and saying, oh, we're peace, we want you guys to have peace in the Middle East, we want you guys to have peace in the Middle East. What that does then, it separates the United Kingdom from the United States, and the United States will be heavily involved in that conflict. However, what it also does is it leaves the gateway open then for the United Kingdom to take the leading role in Eastern Europe against the Russians. Now, look, guys, I did a video, like when I was on a live stream earlier today, and all my live streams will be recorded. Ladies and gentlemen, we're double streaming today. We're streaming on X and we're streaming on YouTube. Please show your support by hitting the buttons down below. I've been banned. I can't be, I'm not streaming on TikTok, guys, because I'm banned again. So, you know what? And to be honest, I think I'm just going to stream on this platform now, guys, from now on, because I feel like it's I just think it's a lot better. So what's going to happen there is you're going to have that situation whereby the United Kingdom's taken the lead role in Eastern Europe. Logistically, it makes sense. And then you've got that situation where the United States, with all the air assets, all the naval assets, can move into the Middle East. Guys, listen, this is a real World War III push forwards. It really is. Now, earlier on the live stream, and I did a video about this. I did a standalone video about this on TikTok. And what I said is, I said, look, guys, normally a week, the Friday after the world leaders have a meeting, there's usually a military escalation, a military deployment. Something happens in that military-industrial sphere. Then you get this article here, guys, saying Donald Trump gives Vladimir Putin 12 or 10 days, says Trump. So let's just have a quick Google on how long Trump's visit to the UK is. I don't know. I do not know. Oh, so he's gonna meet the Queen, right? So he's gonna be 4 days in. Right. So right. So it's 4. So he's here for 4 days. So that may not. Right. So that may not work. But what I'm saying here is, normally, historically, go and check it yourself, guys. Don't take my word for it. Literally, go and check. Whenever there's been a big military push, military deployment, military movement, normally the Friday after that, sorry, I said that totally wrong. When world leaders go to meet, normally after that, the Friday after that, there's normally a big military movement. Something big happens because it will always happen. It will normally happen on a Friday because the stock market closes for the weekend. And if you want to make a ton of money and you know what's going to happen over the weekend, it makes perfect sense to do it on a Friday, because then if you're trying to bet for or against something, you can make an absolute ton of money. You can, guys. You can make an absolute ton of money. And then Manchester Airport, ladies and gentlemen, they are now into their. I think they're into their. Yeah, we're coming back to the third day of this, guys, of the Manchester Airport thing. The Manchester Airport attackers, ladies and gentlemen, they are on their third day now. Now, I don't know if this has got anything to do with Trump being here. I don't know if they don't want to release this while Donald Trump's in the country. I don't know. What I do know is the longer this goes on, just think about this, guys, right? For me, this is a cut and shut case. For me, it's a cut and shut case. I'm not really bothered whether he identified as a police officer or not, because I personally do not believe. I mean, he's chasing one of them to the ground and then I personally do not believe that gentleman did not know that they were police officers. That's what he's claiming. So what he's saying is self-defense, it was an illegal arrest, and everything that happened after that, because it was an illegal arrest, it was self-defense. I think there's a strong case that these guys are going to get off on it. Now, what they've said what they've said on this trial, excuse me, what they've said on this trial is there's supposed to be 12. There's supposed to be 12 in the jury. One of those people had to go on a holiday or something, so it was a pre-booked holiday, so they've had to go, so they've been dismissed. So what the judge has said is the judge has said they will take, he will take a majority ruling, a majority of 10. So 10 people need to have their, he needs to make their mind up. And I mean, guys, listen, to me, this is quite fascinating because I didn't realize how this system worked. I thought the jury had to, like, I don't know, at least that day had to give their verdict. But no, apparently they're still debating. Now, the longer this goes on, that means that people within that group of 11, remember, guys, normally it's 12, but one person had to be dismissed. Within that group of 12 people, within that group of 11 people, some people are arguing that these guys are innocent. So that is the case, guys. You know what? It may not even be the case. It may be that in that group, some people, it's the minority that are arguing that these guys are innocent. So I think these guys, they're all deliberating. They're trying to come to, they're trying to figure out what's happening and what's happened. Now, look, guys, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think there is a strong case that these guys will walk. Not walk with a suspended sentence. I mean walk. Free, not guilty, nothing to do with us. We are innocent. I do think there's a strong case for that, ladies and gentlemen. I really do. Remember, you've got to consider, in the United Kingdom, it's law. Whether you agree, whether you think this law is ridiculous or not, it's the law. It's the law that a police officer has to identify themselves as a police officer before they make an arrest. So you would have to come up to you and say, excuse me, I'm, I don't know, I'm PC 123456 Raven. I'm arresting you on suspicion of, I don't know, thought crime, or whatever. Now, that's where I think this is going to lie, guys. I do. That is where I think this is going to lie. Insanely, I think there is a strong possibility these guys walk. I don't mean walk with a suspended sentence. No, I mean walkie-madorkie, absolute free men, nothing hanging above them. I really do, guys. I see that. And the longer this goes on, I mean, you can imagine the outrage, can't you, guys? You can absolutely imagine the outrage. It's just unbelievable, unbelievable. Right, let me jump up and get some comments, guys. Let me jump up and get some comments. Good evening, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, I guess we are on now. Can you guys do me a real big favor? Like, comment, subscribe, share my stuff on your socials, share my stuff wherever you can, guys. I really appreciate it when you do that. It really helps the algorithm. Tonight, we're talking about an emergency World War III update. I am seeing more sprouts among the weeds poking out that are a combat indicator that we are heading towards a global conflict on an industrial scale. We've got the Manchester Airport attackers. Those guys are, I mean, look, fair play to them. They claimed, they claim not guilty, and I think there's a strong case for their not guiltiness. And also, Conscription, ladies and gentlemen, Conscription is back on the cards following a video that Andrew Bridgen made. I don't know when he made it. Well, we just played it, didn't we? When did he post this? On the 27th of July, Bridgen saying is Andrew Bridgen did a video talking about why the real reason, potentially, why they have lowered the age of voting. Now, he's claiming that the age of voting has been lowered because you can't conscript someone if they don't have a vote. And you know what, guys? I'm going to go one further than that. And I'm going to say I think this has been, I can remember when I was in the army. I joined the military at 16, and I wasn't allowed to be deployed operationally until I was 18. That was the thing, guys. I wasn't allowed to be deployed operationally until I was 18. So I do think there's a little bit of truth in what he's saying. You know, you're getting a lot of people now voting for, voting for this new law where I guess they are children at 16. You know, but I joined the military at 16 as well. Where if you're 16, you get the vote, and guess what? You get to get conscripted as well. So they're talking about the conscription age between 16 and 35. I wouldn't go for that, guys. If I was conscripting and I had to start conscripting, I would conscript a lot older than that. Because we're talking about a global conflict of an industrial scale. And on a global conflict of an industrial scale, you kind of need your young men. You do. You need your young men to repopulate, to rebuild, and to regrow your countries once the fighting's over. Believe me, guys, right? Nobody has any ideas what's coming, and the wars that we are heading towards right now in the world are they're going to make the First and Second World War look like people fighting with stones in a playground. These are going to be conflicts of an industrial scale, guys, an industrial scale, where all that's going to matter is who can get their stuff from the factories to the front line quickest. And I don't want this to be the thing. I get people saying, "Oh, Sean, you're a warmonger." I'm like, how am I a warmonger? Like, you have to be in a position of power to be a warmonger or a warmonger. Right? Like, I'm not profiting off these wars at all. I tell you guys, I don't tell you guys what to do. I tell you guys what's coming. And these things are coming. There's no denying it now. And a few, as we're on the topic, and a few things that have been, guys, look, the front line in Ukraine right now, there isn't a front line. Like, a front line would be a line where people are not going over it, and it's like a front line. Right now, guys, the Ukrainians, and they have been constantly, the Ukrainians are losing about 20 square kilometers every day. And that's been happening since 2022. So the country of Ukraine is gradually falling it's gradually falling, guys. And there's nothing that the Ukrainians can do without support. Anyway, sorry, I digress. Let me jump on and get these comments. Freddie is saying, what are your thoughts on Tommy leaving the country? I think okay, so we're talking about, there's news here that there's the news is that Tommy Robinson's left the country. He's had a fight with somebody, he's knocked them out, and he's left the country. I've said in quite a lot of videos, I think he should just leave the country anyway, and I don't mean that negatively. I don't mean that negatively. I think he's done enough. He needs to leave the country, and people need to start taking things into their own hands, stop looking at, guys, look, let me pin this again. Sorry. And Katie Starting is saying evening all, and Katie Starting, I'm saying evening to you as well, Katie. Sorry. Freddie is saying those on Tommy leaving the country. First of all, I think he should have left long ago, and people should take things into their own responsibility. And I mean that in every walk of life, guys. I really do. Once you stop looking to other people to help you and you take it upon yourself, it's a massively empowering feeling, guys. It's a massively empowering feeling. You find that you didn't need to depend on other people. You find that you didn't need to look for help for someone else. You can do it yourself. Now, I come to this conclusion quite quickly. I used to be in the parachute regiment. And one of the things that you learn very quickly is you're going to be on your own, and nobody is going to come and help you. And I try and carry that ethos with me wherever I'm going. Now, again, sometimes it doesn't work in my favor, but I would say it works in my favor more than it doesn't. Steph is saying, hi, mate. Hope you're good. Feel like too. Feel like Tommy has buggered it. Look, guys, we need to stop, I don't want to repeat what I've just said, but, Let's trust in ourselves. Let's trust in ourselves. Local protest, local level. Let's take back control of our communities. Let's not wait for big marches to be planned by an outside agency. Let's take back control ourselves. Let's man up. Let's take responsibility for ourselves, shall we? Let's take responsibility for ourselves. Lincolnshire Templar. Lincolnshire Templar is saying greetings, and I'm saying greetings to you, good sir, Lincolnshire Templar. And FC Checkers, I don't know what FC Checkers means, but it's a fantastic picture. FC Checkers is saying the jury have probably been nobbled too. Yeah, who knows? Zoe Dean is saying they're definitely getting found not guilty. Shouldn't take this long to reach a verdict. Ladies and gentlemen, when we're talking about the Manchester 2, if you guys were on my live stream earlier, and if you've not, go check that out and make sure you watch my ads as well. Don't skip them at 5 seconds because I get a few extra pence for that, you know. The Manchester 2, earlier on the live stream, I came to the realization live while I was on the screen that this is all going to hinge on one simple question, and it's going to be a binary question, which is going to be very easy to understand. Did those officers identify themselves as police officers before they attempted to make an arrest? If the answer is yes, then everything's fine. Everything's fine. They're getting charged. If the answer is no, I think there is a strong case. That these guys will walk with a not guilty verdict. Now, what you've also got to take into consideration is people want a civil war in the United Kingdom. Near peer adversaries. I mean, look, guys, come on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. All right, come on. Let's be fair. Did you guys have you all watched Donald Trump and Keir Starmer have their little meetings? It's fantastic to watch, isn't it? It's absolutely fantastic to watch. You've got I mean, this thing is so far-fetched and outside of reality. I can't believe honestly, I can't believe I've never seen anything like this in my life, guys. All right, you've got a sovereign state, a sovereign democratic state hosting another world leader, and the world leader says, "Yeah, I'm not coming to London. You come to my house. I'll host you. You be my bitch." That's what Trump is basically saying to Keir Starmer. That is what he's basically saying, guys, by not going to London. Like, it's just phenomenal. It's phenomenal. But yeah, I think there's a problem with the verdict. AJ Aesthetics is saying Kick is the best platform, close to TikTok, but not as censored. A lot of the most popular streamers go on there. Do you know what? I don't know. I'll have to ask Sarah. I think we might actually have a Kick platform. I think I could actually triple stream on Kick as well. James Brooks talking to Steph about the we're talking here, guys. Just talking here, guys, about the Manchester airport, guys. Okay, absolutely unbelievable. The fact that it's taking longer, for the Manchester airport to come to a verdict, only says to me that the verdict is the longer this goes on, the more likely this is going to be not guilty. Right, ladies and gentlemen, let me just open this door over there because it is hotter. It is hotter than a Liverpool Crown Court jury in here. Let me just open that door. And I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. What just happened? I am back. Right.
Do you know why Keir Starmer?
Right, guys, listen, I'm jumping about a bit, but as soon as the video started playing, we've just been talking there about the likelihood of the Manchester 2 walking free. I don't mean walking free with a suspended sentence. I mean walking free. Continue to play, good sir. Here's a little bit of money for your inconvenience. Also, the word conscription is cropping back up again, guys. I'm going to play you guys a short video now. I know I've played it before, but this is a short video from Andrew Bridgen, and he's saying that Keir Starmer is lowering the age of Keir Starmer's lowering the age of the voting age, basically, because once you lower the voting age, you then have a bigger pool for conscription.
Let me tell you, do you know why Keir Starmer's putting forward votes down to 16? Go for it. It's not just the fact that he sees political advantage in it. That's because when he signed us into the European Defence and Securities Union, gave the EU, it's cross EU, Ursula von der Leyen, the ability to conscript from 16 to 35, and you can't ask them to fight your country if they don't get a vote. So they need to be very careful what they're voting. Yeah.
So there you have it, guys. It looks like that the skullduggery with the voting, it does look like that could be to drag people into conscription. Right, guys, look, I'm just reading this here that James Brooks saying, I think you're right. Left the other guy unconscious, and I heard he needed CPR. Yeah, that's. I don't know, guys. Like, where do we go with this? Look, guys, so we're talking about this thing where, look, guys, this is pure speculation right now. But you know what? It's speculation that I think's fair. If somebody comes up to you, guys, I'll be quite clear. I don't know what the answer is to this, right? If somebody comes up to you and they're attacking you, and you hit them once in self-defense, and they don't get up, you guys know what I'm talking about. Where do you go with that? Like, who's in the wrong there? Like, you see where I'm going? You know, you're walking. Let's just give it as Tommy Robinson's experience, right? Look, guys, I don't know what happened. I want to be quite clear. I'm just giving this as an example, right? Let's just say said person is walking through said location, and another person comes up to that person and they're being aggressive, threatening the person. Then the person strikes them once in self-defense, because you're allowed to do a preemptive strike in self-defense. It's legal. And that other person falls, bangs their head funny. Like, what does the law say about that? Because, Sure, I don't know, guys. I don't know where we stand. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not a legal expert. Right, where are we? Rylan Maguire is saying, so an airport has something to do with world leaders. Rylan, are we talking about the Manchester airport incident? Are we just talking about, or are you just talking about airports in general? If you're talking about the Manchester airport attackers, I would say that has a lot to do with, okay, so if we're talking about the Manchester attackers, does that have things to do with world leaders? Probably not world leaders, but definitely the people behind the scenes who pull the strings. Look, there's a reason that this trial has taken so long to get to court. There's a reason this trial has taken so long, and it just happens to be the trial just looks like they're going to get their verdict right in the middle of at the beginning of the 6 weeks holidays, when kids are off school, mums and dads are off school, taxes are up. We've got migrants staying in 4-star hotels with double bed, 4-poster beds and exclusive music lessons. Like, I don't know, guys. Can you afford to send your kids to music lessons? I don't know. Can you? Or are you struggling to make ends meet? Because it seems your taxes are paying migrants to have music lessons. I don't know. This is just, look, guys, this is us on the mainstream, all right? This is on the mainstream. I hope I've answered your question, Rylan. I hope I've answered your question. No, I haven't answered your question, actually. So the people behind the scenes, they'll be the ones who will be wanting this this Manchester, like, for example, if this Manchester airport trial would have been pushed through in Christmas time, you would have had hardly any, whatever the result, you wouldn't have really got that much social collateral. Christmas, people are more worried about buying Christmas presents, and nobody really cares. At the summer, more people are paying attention, more people are off work, more people are competing for less jobs. You know, if it comes out that these guys walk free with a not guilty verdict, that's going to cause a certain amount of social collateral. And those people, I wouldn't say world leaders, certainly, but people behind the scenes, those people behind the scenes who are wanting to push that and wanting to drive that, they will, of course, see this as an opportunity and push it in that direction. Oh, guys, there's so many comments. John Thistlethwaite, sorry, is saying, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What Keir Starmer is doing, in my opinion, is ridiculously low in lowering the age of consent. Dressy, hope you like means no difference. Still same thing. Doesn't. Sorry, that doesn't matter. Right. So I think what John's saying there is it's you shouldn't be lowering the age of the vote." I think he's gonna. Honestly, guys, I like everybody I've spoken to. Everybody I've spoken to who knows somebody that's under 18, I guess. Everybody, like nobody's going to vote for Keir Starmer. So I don't think it's about votes. I really don't, guys. I don't think it's about votes. I would think it's more to do with what Andrew Bridgen's talking about, conscription. Right, and Debbie Doob's saying it's manslaughter. Right, guys, look, and again, let's just be clear. This channel is not legal. We're not. No, well, I don't know if anybody is. This is not legal advice for anyone, guys. All right, I just need to caveat that. All right, nobody. Like, I'm not a legal expert. I'm not. I was just asking the question. I was just asking the question. In UK law. In UK law, you're allowed to defend yourself. You're allowed to throw a preemptive strike. And the scenario I was given, I don't know the solution to this. The scenario I was given is, gentleman is or lady, said person is walking through said location. Undisclosed person is walking through undisclosed location. Undisclosed assailant attacks undisclosed person. Undisclosed person throws one punch, hits an undisclosed assailant. Undisclosed assailant falls down, bad, hits their head on something. An undisclosed assailant is no more. Anyway, and Debbie Doobs is saying that would be a manslaughter case. I don't know, guys. I don't know where it would be. Jane Taylor is saying, so votes for 16-year-olds and fines for those that don't turn up to vote. So you get a fine. Are we being serious now, guys? Are we being serious and saying there's a fine for not voting? Like, to me, that sounds like, how there's an episode of The Simpsons where they've got the two candidates, the Republican and the Democrat candidate, and they're both aliens, and they're like, well, I don't want to vote for any of you. No, you don't want to waste your votes. You either vote for me or you vote for him. And you're like, you're literally brothers, and you're both aliens. You both want to take over the world. Yeah, but you don't want to vote for him. You don't want to vote. Yeah, that kind of looks like we're that. To me, that looks like the direction of travel that we're in right now, guys. It's just absolutely insane. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you're joining for the first time, if you're only just jumping on, let me give you guys a quick update. There's been a World War III development that I guess that nobody will have noticed it. Nobody will have noticed it, guys. There has been rhetoric from Donald Trump where he's given Vladimir Putin 10 days, which I think that's going to fall into those brackets of the military escalation. And we have been trying to piece together the latest update from the Manchester airport attackers. Let me just Google this again. It's obvious that this is just a comment, guys. So a comment here on X from a few minutes ago. It's obvious that the Manchester airport attackers will be free. Any police officer that goes to work the day after the verdict has zero respect for themselves or the public they allegedly protect. A full walkout is needed. That's a comment. That's a comment, guys. I'm just reading that as a comment. Yeah, I mean, I didn't. That's one aspect I'd not even given that much thought to. Like, so let's put this together, guys. Now, guys, in real time. All right, let's put this together in real time. All right. If they walk with a not guilty, if they walk with a not guilty. Remember what I was saying to you guys? Remember what I was saying to you guys when I was watching the Epping protest, and I was saying to you guys, I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, I'm seeing the body language of those police officers that are standing there with the riot shields. I'm seeing the body language of those officers, and I think we're very close to seeing police officers put their shields down, take their helmets off, and just say, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good." So let's just contextualize this now, right? I thought you could hear the bells. Let's just contextualize this now, right? So they walk free, and then there's a protest, then there's a riot. Like how do the police react to that? Or the next time the next time there's a riot in the United Kingdom and it's in one of these diverse areas and the police are sent in, what are they going to do? They're going to think, right, well, if we go in here and we get beat up, nothing's going to happen. So we might as well, why don't the police, like, if I was a police officer, what I'd be giving serious thought to is like, right, instead of going into those areas, just like beat yourselves up and take the day off. It'll save some petrol and it'll save you guys a lot of time, because like that's all that's going to happen. You're going to get beat up. Can you imagine? Like, yeah, I didn't even consider that. Like, imagine if you're a police officer and these guys walk. Yeah, imagine if you're a police officer and these guys walk. Wouldn't that be a kick in the face for all the police officers? And look, ladies and gentlemen, I've said this quite a few times. All right, I'm a veteran. I don't even feel like I'm not a veteran. Those who can't teach. I still feel like I'm an active member. I'm ex-military. Let's say that. Let's put it that. Let's leave it there. I'm ex-military. I worked with some really, really good, solid police officers. Really solid guys. Not as good as the military. I want a strong police force. I want a strong legal system. I want a strong government. And of course I want a strong military. But with that strength, nowhere in that strength is wokeness. That is the opposite of strength. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if we get to guys, we're talking about the Manchester airport attackers here. Can you imagine if we get into a situation where police come up to a crime and they're like, yeah, I'm not even going to bother with those guys because those guys will beat me up, and I just won't be able to. They'll just walk free. Listen, guys. I do think there's a strong chance that these guys get set off on a technicality. Chloe White is saying, surely the police are sick of it too. Yes, I believe so. I believe so too. And Chloe White is also saying, do you think we could see a police strike? No. Like the military, the police are not allowed to go on strike. They're just not allowed to do it. The police are not allowed to go on strike. So the fire service, the ambulance service, guys, look, I love it when the doctors go on strike. Like those doctors, like, didn't they just get a 35% pay rise? Let me just Google this. Let me just Google this, guys, because, like, I'm pretty sure that the doctors, NHS doctors, yeah, so they got a 22% pay rise, sorry. So they got so the doctors, remember, like, last year or whenever it was, they was all protesting under the Conservatives about getting a pay rise. Well, as soon as Labour got in, they're like, yep, here's your pay rise. And then they gave them the pay rise, and they were like, well, that was easy. Let's do this again. So they had a 22% pay rise, and now they want more. So now I don't know why. I think they're just being prima donnas, guys. I think people have lost touch with. I don't think people think doctors. I don't think people think doctors are as important as doctors think they are, if that makes sense. But no, in direct response to Chloe's question, Chloe White, do you think we could see police strikes? No, the police are not allowed to strike. It's written in their contract. Deep Doob is saying they will do what they did in Har Hills and run away. Yeah, we've seen that lots, haven't we? Isn't it embarrassing, guys? Isn't it embarrassing when we see when we see our own police officers running off? It's embarrassing, absolutely embarrassing. Matt says police should quit their job if the Manchester boys get a light sentence. It will prove the police aren't safe in their role. The problem is, everybody's in debt. Literally, everybody's in debt to someone or another. The police officers will have loans, they will have mortgages, they will have bills to pay. It's not as easy as you can quit your job. You know, this is a way that, like, this is a real good, like, people like money. Ultimately, guys, money financing is the only real method of control. James Brooke is saying, so what happens in 10 days? Do you know what? Let's have a look, shall we? So this is an article from BBC. Putin must agree Ukraine ceasefire. Oh, excuse me. Putin must agree Ukraine ceasefire in 10 or 12 days. I'll give him 10 days, and if he doesn't agree in 10 days, I'll give him 12. So Donald Trump's saying that Putin must agree in 10 or 12 days. I don't know why he said that. Surely you would just say it's 12, not 10 or 12. President Donald Trump has presented a new, shorter deadline for Russia to agree a ceasefire in Ukraine 10 or 12 days from Monday. President Trump said there was no reason for waiting any longer. Basically, you know, Donald Trump saying that they need to have they need to have a ceasefire. It's just not going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to happen right now. In fact, you know what? I'm going to show you guys the front line in Ukraine. If you guys bear with me a second, I'll split screen and I'll show it you. If I can remember that one, this one. Right, Right, so this is the front line in Ukraine, guys. So this is the town of Pokrovs, and this is what the front line look. Well, I guess there's no front line, and you'll see what I mean in a second. But this was from the 26th of the 6th, so just over a month ago. If you look at these arrows, every time I click this, this will donate 1 day of movement, right? So I'm just going to zoom forward as quick as I can. Now, what I want you to do is take note of how much ground the Russians are taking and how much ground the Ukrainians are not taking back. So it's just a slow onslaught in multiple locations like this, guys. Every day it's the same. The Ukrainians are losing about 20 square kilometers, 20 square kilometers every day. Oh no, let me zoom out the other way. So that's where that region is there. Now, the reason I zoomed into Pokrovs is because that town of Pokrovs, they call it a city, but if it was in the UK, it'd be classed as a town. That town of Pokrovs, it's a fortress location. If that town falls, there's literally nothing to stop Putin rolling his tanks all the way up to Dnipro. But if you secure up to the river Dnipro, which is what I believe he wants to do. I don't think there can be any peace negotiations until that happens. If he secures, basically, Zaporizhzhia has the biggest, it's certainly Europe's biggest, it may be the biggest nuclear power plant in the world. You've got Dnipro, which has got heavy industry, heavy manufacturing, heavy steel. You've got Kremenchuk, which has, believe it or not, it is the world's biggest supplier of, I think, Xeon gas. And that is used for microchip processors. And then obviously at the top here, you've got Kiev, which is the absolute jewel that Putin will 100% want to take control of. This region here, Poltava, that's got a lot of gas wells, I guess you'd call them, gas wellheads. A lot of gas in Poltava. So you see this region here, you know, guys, there really isn't much here but farmland. So that's why, you know, I would speculate that Putin wants to come over, take control of this area, and then there's going to be no realistic peace talks until Putin is up to the river Dnipro. I just don't see it on the cards, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have the cards, Zelensky. You don't have the cards. We've empowered you to be a tough guy, but you don't have the cards. So that's where we are, guys, you know, and that situation in Ukraine, it's not stopped. Now, let me ask you this. If you were playing poker or whatever game you're playing, if you were playing Texas Hold'em poker and you've got all the cards, you've got the big mountain of chips, all right? Your opponent's got a smaller amount of chips and you're winning. Every couple of hands, he's giving you more and more chips. Every time you play, you're taking more and more chips off him. Why would you why? And he said to you, do you want to shake hands and split the pot? You wouldn't do that, would you? You wouldn't do that because that's not, you're going to win anyway. All it takes is time. And the longer people flim-flam, in the West, the more drastic that scenario is going to be. Linda from X is saying, just seen on X that the hotel at Canary Wharf is no longer going to house migrants. I don't know what, I mean, the thing is, guys, like, where are they going to go? They have to go somewhere. I mean, I know where I'd put them, but they have to go somewhere. So whether they go in this hotel, that hotel, it doesn't matter. Because at some point, they're going to be in private houses on your street, maybe, on your estate. You know that place that you just spent a load of money for? And we were driving the other day. We're driving through a small village, and there's a new. We're driving through a small village, and there was a new housing estate. New housing estate. It wasn't a housing estate at all. It was a gated community. Sorry, yeah, a gated community. And I was like, wow. These community people are understanding now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just a question for this is just a question for you guys in the chat. Have you noticed now that all these new developments that are getting built, they have one way in and one way out? Literally one road to rule them all. You know, and when I see that from a security point of view, when I see that, I think, wow, what a fantastic way to control all those people in there. You just put a police car on there, and then all those people in that house, then in that estate, they're not allowed to leave. And I've not seen a new development that has multiple entry and exit routes. I've not, guys. The one entry route, one exit route, one road in, one road out. It's the same road. Right, where are we, guys? Where are we? Positive programming for mind and body is saying your impressions make me chuckle despite being a serious subject. Lisa Jane is saying it's been said that the councils are to buy up every home they can to house the migrants. So yeah, again, look, guys, it's unbelievable. Like, we know from personal experience, we know anecdotally that people are getting, like, look, guys, we are being outbid. We are being outbid on our own properties with our own taxes. Say that back to yourself and make it make sense. Somebody make that make sense. We are working our fingers to the bone. I watched the video earlier, and it's like some guy, and he's sat in a truck, and he totally resonates. And he's saying something like, "There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. You go to work, you come back from work, then you find ways that people can take the money off you that you've just earned. At the weekend, you take your kids to a soft play area. On a Sunday, you have a Sunday dinner, you go to bed, and then you do it again. It's like, what do you do? There's nothing to do. And, you know, I totally get it. You know, I totally get it. Right, FC Checkers is saying, but it might end up legal to address Muslim. Yeah, so what this does is this sets up right, going back to the Manchester, let me just see if there's been there won't have been an update because the courts will have closed, but let me just check. Oh, hang on. Oh no. Yeah, there's been no updates, guys. Again, look, so Manchester Airport attackers, ladies and gentlemen, I think there's a strong case. I think there's a strong case that these guys will walk. Now, they will get off on a technicality. My speculation, my analysis, and my opinion. If they get off, and I put a lot of caveats in there, if they get off with assaulting police officers, this would be because the arrest was an illegal arrest. In the United Kingdom, if you're an officer, you have to identify yourself as an officer. I'm PC 123456 Raven. I'm arresting you on suspicion of thought crime. That would be a legal arrest. If I just go to arrest you and say, oh, you're arrested on thought crime, that would be an illegal arrest. Now, what I think it's going to come down to is a situation where they say to the jury, right, the punching, the kicking, the tasing, none of that matters. Let's go right back to the first offence. Was this a legal arrest? And if that officer didn't identify themselves as an officer, there's a strong argument to say that it wasn't. In fact, you know what? It wasn't a legal arrest. So then when that officer puts his hand on the gentleman, that is literally assault. But that is the definition of assault, guys. All right, that's assault. So then everything that happens after that is washed under the carpet. No, I'm not making that up, ladies and gentlemen. Go and check that out for yourselves. If they get off, that's how I think it's going to be. The Crazy Beast is saying, on another note, did you see the South Park have made a new episode with Trump in bed with the devil? It's a bit random. Oh, it's not random, guys. It's not random. Trump in bed with the devil is not, look. There's lots of things happening right now, guys. There is that things are not black and white. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. But what we're seeing is the pomp and pageantry. What we're seeing is the symptoms. Everything that's happening now, guys, I would speculate, everything that's happening now, ladies and gentlemen, I would speculate has already been planned. It's already been mapped out and played out by AI 10, 15, 20 years ago. It really will have, guys. It really will have all been planned and mapped out 20, maybe even 30 years ago. So when they're saying that Trump's in bed with the devil, maybe he is. I don't know. Maybe he is. I don't know. What was I just do? I see Sharia law. Yeah, we talked about the Sharia law. Yeah. I really want Rupert Lowe and Nigel Farage to make up. But equally, when we're talking about Nigel Farage and reform, everybody wants to vote for reform, right? Nothing's going to change. Nothing will change, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing will change until people understand what the real problems are. And the real problems are not the people who we elect. It's the people who fund the people who we elect, if that makes sense. And Debbie Doobs is saying they're all in bed with the devil. Linda is saying, I believe we are in a spiritual war. Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few people been messaging me saying we're in a spiritual war and the veil between good and bad has never been thinner. And what people are seeing on the earth right now is a manifestation of the intensity of that war. But listen, here's one I've just thought of. As Linda's talking about this, right, guys? Listen, this is bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Bear with me a second. Just go with me on this, right? Let me Google it, actually. In fact, let me ask Grok. I'm going to ask Grok. I'm going to ask Grok and we'll see what the answer is. Because I'm paying now. I'm paying, I pay Grok now. I pay Elon Musk my money every month and I'm going to use Grok. Grok. So I put Grok. Is there an alien ship heading with hostile intent heading towards Earth to be here in November? Now, I heard this somewhere else. Let me just have a look. Let's see what Grok's talking about. Let's see what Grok's talking about. Wow, this is a massive article, right? Oh, Grok. Hang on. I'm just going to put Grok. Can you make that I've just put Grok. Can you make that short answer for a YouTube answer to YouTube audience? Right. Okay. So this is the answer from Grok. No evidence supports claims of a hostile alien ship heading towards Earth in November. The object, Atlas 3, is likely a natural comet, not an alien craft, despite some speculation. Right? Okay, so people are speculating, but there's no hard proof. Despite some speculation, it'll pass safely far from Earth in December. Astronomers studying it, but don't worry, it's probably not. It's probably just a space rock. Right? I'm sure I heard that was in November, but whatever. There is quite a few celestial objects coming relatively close to Earth. There's quite a few celestial objects coming relatively close to Earth, guys. And I don't know. I mean, if I just get a little bit concerned. Not this one that's coming. So there's one that's coming relatively close in December. I thought it was November, but Grok's saying it's early in December, which might indeed mean November. But there's also one in 2029, I think, that comes really close, like that, like underneath satellites close. Now, to me, that just seems far too close, like ridiculously too close. And Joshua Harrison is saying NASA wouldn't admit it whether it was true or not. No, it wouldn't, guys. No, I don't think they would either. Jenna Lana is just sending a wave. Jenna Lana sending a wave. Hello, I'm a wave right back to you, Jenna. And Zoe Dean is saying 3 days to reach a verdict on a case with filmed evidence. If the defendants were white British, they'd be found guilty within hours. Honestly, guys, I don't think it's as cut and shut as that. I really don't. I think this case in Manchester Airport, I think it's all going to hinge. I think it's all going to hinge on, did that officer identify themselves? And I think what they're going to be arguing is, like, I think, look, guys, I need to caveat this. I'm not a legal expert. I'm just some guy talking on the internet. What I think this is all going to hinge on is UK law states that officers have to identify themselves as an officer. In fact, let me ask Rock. Do UK officers have to identify themselves to make an arrest? I know the answer is yes, but I want to give you like a Grok answer. In the UK, officers must identify themselves when making an arrest by stating. So here's the thing, guys. This is what I wanted to get. Stating that they are the police, explaining the reasons for the arrest, the suspected crime and that the person is not free to leave. So if that didn't happen, you see where I'm going with this, guys, and I know it's a technicality. If that didn't happen, then you're going to have a situation where that arrest was illegal. So when you see where I'm going with this, guys, and when he put his hand on him, that was assault, and you can defend yourself with self-defense. You're allowed to preemptive strike. That's where I'm going with that, guys. I don't know. But yeah, to me, it does seem this trial is, the verdict is taking a long time. I mean, I don't know how these, I mean, look, guys, like for you and me, and I would say 99, well, maybe not, maybe, I don't know, maybe 90% of the population would understand that people in the United Kingdom that have a badge on them that says police, and again, they may not be able to read English, I don't know, have a badge on them that says police, that they're police, and you just do as you're told. Yeah, I don't know why it's taking so long, but guys, look, the longer this trial goes on, the longer it takes for these guys to get a verdict. I think the likelihood of that verdict being not guilty goes up. You know, there's like a graph. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're on, can you do me a massive favor? Hit that like button, the subscribe, the bell notification. If you're watching on YouTube, the buttons are down here. I don't know, on X, I think they're up there or something. The follow, whatever buttons they are, ladies and gentlemen, to help this channel out. Remember, we usually triple stream, but today we're double streaming because I'm banned again from TikTok. I'm banned from TikTok for saying, so this is what I'm not making this up, guys. I didn't shout at a dog. I'm banned from TikTok for giving my opinion on the Afghan military. Now, bear in mind, when I give my opinion on the Afghan military, I can pretty much guarantee I've spent more time with the Afghan military than, you know, the person who was reviewing my content in, I don't know, wherever they review my content. So when I said that I think that their soldiers are tactically inadequate, the live banned, I'm kicked off. I'm not allowed to say that sort of stuff. I'm not allowed to say they're like that. I think they're the worst soldiers I've ever, you know, I've ever came across. But anyway, guys, yeah, I am banned from TikTok. So please show your support on these platforms, guys. I really do appreciate it. Maxine Cooper is saying the judge saying they're a good character and no antecedents. I don't know what that incidents. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that word is. Maxine Cooper, have you been on the wine? Has Maxine Cooper been on the wine? Judge saying they're good character and no. I don't know what that means. So maybe a referral to probation and community service, if taking a long time, means that, yeah. So, I mean, I think what she's coming to there is, we're you know, because it's taken a longer time to come to a verdict, that means people are arguing. So that means that I would say that, you know, do you know what? We're all thinking that there could be a majority arguing that they're guilty. It may actually be that the majority are arguing that they're not guilty. FC Checks is saying, did I have to turn a blind eye to Bashar Bazi? Oh, Bazi wasn't in power when I was in Afghan. Sean, did you see that woman arrested at the weekend with the baby pram? No, I didn't. Everybody's been telling me about this, guys. Everybody's been telling me. I've not seen the footage of it. Right, and Max, right, okay. I'm ringing. Give me a second, guys. Sorry, it was my sister. No idea what she wants. But you know what? You guys are more important. You guys are more important while I'm on the phone, because I'm not going on the phone while I'm on you guys, because we are double streaming today, ladies and gentlemen. We are on YouTube. We are on X. You know what? We're not on TikTok because we've been banned, but we're on YouTube and we're on X, so please show your support, ladies and gentlemen. And if you can do nothing else, guys, can you please share my stuff? That really helps me out, guys, more than anything. It's just a little button for you guys, just a little share of your hands, a little share of your fantastic fingers. I really do appreciate it. Christopher Morton says, it's all on camera. They was going to get guilty. It wouldn't be taking so long. Defo getting off with it. Guys, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you've got to understand that behind the scenes, there are, behind the scenes, there will be people, behind the scenes, there will be people who will be wanting to push the United Kingdom into, like, divisional warfare. And this is another way to do it. This is one of the ways that people can do it. Things that seem normal, you send them to prison. Things that seem crazy, like you would definitely be going to prison, you let them off with it. It causes a divide. It causes the divide. There's a name for it. There's like I think there's like a strategy, or somebody came up with a strategy. I can't remember what it's called. John Thistlethwaite is saying, let's be honest, anybody who enters a courtroom who has not been caught before is of good character. Doesn't mean a thing. Yeah. So exactly. It just means they've not been caught before. Jane Taylor, could VPNs be banned? UK government to look very closely into their usage amid mass. Yeah, so let me just give you this one real quick, guys. So, yeah, let me give you this real quick. Zia Yusuf was talking about VPNs. Let me give you this, guys, because this is chilling. Give me a second. Wow. Right. Spell Yusuf wrong. So Zia Yusuf, he's done like a little speech where he's talking about the so he's basically talking about this online safety bill, and what he's saying is the here it is. Oh, it's 15 minutes. I don't want to listen to that. What he's saying is he goes through the acts of it. So I don't know if you guys know this or not, but all it takes is one, I think it's section amendment 44 or something, or 144. But basically this Online Safety Act will give ministers, as any single minister can go to Ofcom or whatever and tell them to alter the algorithm to start letting people see this or not letting people see that, or blocking keywords or promoting other keywords. It literally is like an absolute, it's unbelievable, guys. It's absolutely unbelievable. I'm just trying to find you the video now. I'll have to find it for you and do it, and I'll do another video about it. But we're giving away too much power to like a certain amount of people, and what they're saying is this is to protect children. Like, so what we're saying is to protect children and to keep children safe away from these bad people. Like, I mean, let's just be fair, guys. If you're a bad I mean, I use a VPN, but if you're a bad person and you're doing bad stuff on the internet, you're going to have a VPN. You're going to have a secure network. You're going to have encryption. You're going to hide what you're doing. And these online safety bills are not going to, they're not going to do anything towards it, guys. They're really not. Zoe Dean is saying Starmer has upset Netanyahu, said he's appeasing jihadi terrorists with the Palestine recognition state. Yeah. So Zoe Dean, I'm going to segue this back into what the emergency World War III update that I wanted to give you guys. What we're talking about here is that the United Kingdom will recognize Palestine in September, unless Israel agrees to a Gaza ceasefire, which they're not going to do. Now, I don't know why they're saying September and not now, or why they're giving them, I mean, I suppose it's not that far away. It's like, what, a month? But what we can see here is the United Kingdom heading that direction, where the United Kingdom is pro-Palestine, where we're all against the wars in the Middle East, and we don't like suffering in the Middle East, and refugees welcome, and oh yeah, it's terrible what's happening over there. And then the Americans, they're going to be, you guys need to deal with that threat on your own over there in Eastern Europe, because we're not going to commit any American troops to European soil, because you guys are going to have to do it over there. And this is why I've been talking about that divergence. Like, strategically, tactically, logistically, it makes absolutely no sense. It makes no sense for the United States to get involved in any conflict on mainland Europe. Their main conflict is going to be in the Middle East, guys. It is going to be in the Middle East. You know, you've got, let's not forget that the Iranians are still pledging to go forward with their nuclear enrichment program. The Americans in November 23, I want to say, the Americans, maybe even, I don't know, 23, 24, the Americans said in, I think it was 23, November 23 said that they would not accept a nuclear-armed Iran and would take all action necessary to stop it. So you've got these things happening. And like I keep saying, guys, all right, when world leaders meet like this, normally the Friday after or the Friday after the Friday after, you see a big military movement. Now, I'm not speculating on that. I'm saying you that, like, historically, that is what happens. The most recent one, you can literally, like, you can set your watch by it. When Netanyahu goes to America and they have a little talk, and then something happens, and then they come back, and then and then there's a big push. It always happens on, not always, but most of the time it happens on a Friday. Now, it happens on a Friday because people make a ton of money if they can do things on a Friday, because the stock market closes on a Friday, and then the market will adjust by the time Monday comes, and when the stock market's open on Monday, people have lost a lot more or gained a lot more, depending on whether you're betting on shares going up or down. Jane Taylor is saying, anyone have messages on their TV saying that our viewing has been monitored? No, give over. Give over. Give over. I don't, but give over. Right, Jane, have you, right, okay, has anyone, I'm just going to read this message. Has anyone have messages on their TV saying that our viewing is being monitored? They would not be saving personal data, but collecting customer viewing. Like, really? Is that the thing? Is that the thing that we're doing? Is that the thing that we're doing now? Like, this is literally George Orwell's 1984. I don't know if you guys have I don't know if you guys have read George Orwell's 1984. But everybody has a TV screen, and they call it like a telemonitors or something. It's a TV screen basically, and every TV screen has a camera on it, and it's called Big Brother, and Big Brother's always watching. Wow, I don't know if that's a thing, guys. It's certainly, I mean, we don't really watch much TV, but it's not happened to us. Rocketman Gaming is saying, if that is true, we are going to be puppets in no time for the Puppet Master. Yeah, I mean, like, really, is that where we're heading right now? Like, our TVs are watching us and saying what we can and can't watch, and then, we've all got universal basic income, and we're just like, it goes back to what that guy was saying, doesn't it? There's nothing to do. There's literally nothing to do. Debbie Doobs is saying Big Brother is everywhere. And guys, it's hard to disagree, isn't it? Hard to disagree. Right, ladies and gentlemen, the crux of this video, the crux of this live stream, World War III update. these things are gonna happen fast. I've just shown you the situation on the ground in Ukraine. It's not good. It's not been good for a long time. The Russians are taking ground hand over foot every day. The United Kingdom is now taking the lead role in this coalition of the willing. The United Kingdom will recognize Palestine will recognize the Palestinian state in September. What that's going to do is that's going to calm a lot of the people. You know those guys who are waving pro-Palestine flags? A lot of those people are going to be calmed down and they're going to be like, oh, we're safe. But listen, guys, those guys are useful idiots. Trust me, those guys are useful idiots. Do you know why? Because you can pay them. You can pay them to go and protest. We do have a lot of stuff coming, guys. It's absolutely insane. We have got the Manchester airport too. I'm genuinely seeing a direction where these guys walk. They walk and they get a not guilty to the charges of assaulting police officers. Why? Because I think there's a strong argument that initial arrest, I've forgotten how to talk. I've forgotten how to talk. That the initial arrest was illegal, and if the initial arrest was illegal, then when he put his hand on his shoulder or whatever he did to arrest him, then that was assault. UK law, you can defend yourself if somebody's assaulted you, you can defend yourself. That's the reality, guys, and I think that's the technicality that those guys are going on. Also, we are talking about hang on. Right, so Jane Taylor is saying, I'm not kidding, Sean. I couldn't access stream. Then it came up black box with message. I just wanted to see. I don't know. Jane Taylor, I've not witnessed that, but you know, we don't. To be honest, we hardly ever watch any TV anyway. Yeah, I don't know. It's a bonkers one. It's certainly a bonkers one. Let's just monitor it and see if it keeps happening. Also, conscription has raised its ugly head again, ladies and gentlemen. Now, from a video that Andrew Bridgham posted a while ago, it looks like the real meaning for conscription, for the voting age being brought down is.
Let me tell you. Do you know why Keir Starmer's putting forward votes down to 16? Go for it. It's not just the fact that he sees political advantage in it. That's because when he signed us into the European Defence and Securities Union, gave the EU, it's cross EU, Ursula von der Leyen, the ability to conscript from 16 to 35, and you can't ask them to fight for your country if they don't get a vote. So they need to be very careful what they're voting. Yeah.
So it looks like the turkeys are voting for Christmas. So this, and I do think there's a kernel of, I don't know if this is true, guys. I do know that when I was in the military, I joined at 16, and I do know that if you joined at 16, you were not allowed to get deployed operationally until you were 18. I was 17. I got deployed to Northern Ireland. I wasn't allowed to leave. The camp on a patrol until I was 18. So I do think there is something in that, guys. I really do. FCC Checkers is saying, I'm glad my son is epileptic now. He won't be going to foreign lands to fight for this circus. Yeah, I mean, we hear stories, don't we? You know, we hear stories, don't we, of young men in the Second World War lying about their age to join the military. And I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't know what the I don't know what the political climate was like. I don't know what the political climate was like back in like 1938 or 1937. So it'd be very difficult because there's not really much info. I have tried to find out. I don't know what the political situation was like. I don't know what the mood generally among Brits were. What I do know, there was no such thing like social media. There was no such thing like the internet. The passage and sharing of information was nothing even remotely like it is now. So it wouldn't be difficult to speculate that the government could control the narrative quite easily from Westminster. if you control the papers, the radio, wireless. Obviously, not everybody had a radio, but not everybody had a radio back then. So the main form of news was literally getting inked out paper and inked out paper. Pen and paper, not pen and paper, press and paper, sorry, what I'm talking about. So if you control the presses, if you control the papers that are going out, you control people's opinion. If you control people's opinion, you can push whatever agenda forward you want. Oh, and FCC Checkers saying, I joined in 91, age 16, was going through the process when the first Gulf War. And Linda Lewis saying, right, Linda, hang on. Right, hang on, guys. There's I'm just jumping up here. Chair, Linda Clark. I think people are, hang on. Right, okay, yeah. So the parodies here, ladies and gentlemen, the parodies here between Lucy Conley. I mean, just think about that, guys. Lucy Conley's away from her kids. You hear the bells? So Lucy Conley's been away from her children. I love those bells. So Lucy Conley's been away from her children for a tweet. A man, again, a tweet. A man shouted at a dog and he's doing 20 years in jail. We have a real world scenario right now, guys, a real life situation where two gentlemen may not see the inside of a jail, and they were throwing literal hand bombs. They were throwing hand bombs at police. Just think about that, guys. Just think about that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go now. I will be back on tomorrow at 10. I'll be double streaming on YouTube and on X because they're the only guys who can put up with me at this moment. And, of course, you fantastic lot. So I'll be back on in the morning, guys. I'm going to be keeping an eye on these things that are happening. I do see direction now that when Trump goes back to the United States, either the Friday after or the next Friday, depending when he goes back. So if he goes back on a Thursday, it's not going to be the next Friday. Of a big military movement happening. Something's going to happen in Ukraine in that time. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be going now, and I'll see you lot in the morning at 10. Don't be late.